Simran. This video is brought to you by DES, Detroit Education Society. DES tutors Detroit school students in STEM and English. Today we'll be interviewing Amit, and Amit Singhi is a great leader who holds a CFO position at Piston Group. So can you tell us about your background and career history?
Morning Simran. Very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me to this event here today. I'll tell you a little bit about my background. So I was actually born and brought up in India. I did my undergraduate degree in electrical engineering from IIT Bombay. Once I graduated, I came to the US to do a master's in EE systems from University of Michigan. I did my master's in computer science and systems engineering. When I graduated, I went to work at GM for a few years. As I was working at GM in engineering and operations, I went to get back my MBA from U of M. When I graduated with a degree in finance and corporate strategy, that's when I switched from engineering to finance and from GM to Ford. I was at Ford for about 20 years, all in different areas of finance, from manufacturing, product development, marketing, sales, service, corporate staffs. The last 3 years, I was the CFO for our South American operations in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We had moved to South America for 3 years. When I came back, I had an opportunity with FLIR Systems. It stands for Forward Looking Infrared, a company based in Portland, Oregon, that focuses on military equipment, thermal imaging, sensors, imaging technologies. I did that for 2 years as their CFO. And then I have an opportunity now at Piston Group as the CFO for the group. Piston is an automotive supplier. It's comprised of 3 companies. Piston Automotive, that does value-added assembly, Detroit Thermal Systems, which is a joint venture with Valeo, and Irvin Automotive, which does seat and interior trim products.
Okay. Well, wow, those are quite a few transitions from India to US to Brazil, and then from GM to Ford to FLIR, and then finally Piston Group. So can you tell us, how was your transition from engineering to finance?
Sure. Actually it was not that hard. When I kind of look back, I was always interested in the business side of things. So I did want a very sound technical foundation. That's why I went into engineering. But I knew eventually I did want to make that transition. And actually, I think that the engineering education was much harder than the MBA education that I got. And I found that the technical foundation was very strong and allowed me to make that transition very well. I was always interested, maybe it's my math orientation, maybe it's my left brain personality, or just being very analytical. Engineering and finance really went well. And going into companies like GM, Ford, FLIR, which are very product and technology based, having that engineering foundation was very good, so that I could better understand the business and the products and the operating physicals, which made me a better finance professional. So all in all, from that standpoint, I think the transition was something good because I was interested in math and analytics, and it was also good because the companies that I have worked at, having that strong technical foundation was a huge plus.
Yeah, that's great. So what were the lessons you learned during your 20-year career at Ford?
A lot of lessons, obviously, and learned a lot about the business as I moved around. In my 20 years, I probably had 15 different assignments in all different areas of the company. As I reflect back, probably one I would say is, in my 20 years, as I said, I had 15 different assignments. And what I found was, as I looked at senior leaders across the company, whether it was in finance or other areas, no 2 leaders had the same path. When I looked at their career trajectory, they had all gone through different positions at different times, and they were all different paths. They all ended up being very successful, but there were no 2 paths which were the same, which tells me and tells us that at the end of the day, there is no one path to progressing in a company or becoming a manager or a leader or an executive. You can take a multitude of different paths. You can always obviously plan your career, and you want to make sure that you're thoughtful about it, but you obviously cannot predict how you're going to go about. And so for me, it was really taking the next opportunity as it came along, being open to that, because anything you go into, at the end of the day, there's always opportunities to make an impact, to make a difference, and to learn a lot. And as you go along, what I found was, as you go through the different paths, at the end, if you're really focused on doing the right thing, you learn and you grow. The second piece on that was also, as I went through all the different assignments, it's, at least from my standpoint, it's very important to really learn the business, and really, no matter what you do, whether it's education, whether it's business, to really deep dive in whatever you're doing, to really absorb and be a sponge and really learn everything about that position or that assignment or what have you, and everything around it, to really be a master at whatever you're doing, and really be very proficient at that subject. And as you do that, once you learn the business, is to own it. So whatever you do, take ownership. Whatever assignment it is, whatever project it is, to really be an owner of that, and then drive the business. Really take ownership and make a difference, right? Whatever you do, think about how did you leave that position better than how you found it, and what's going to be your legacy at the end of the day. How did you make a difference? How did you make it better? And I think, again, learning first, and then really owning it, and then driving the business to really make a difference and make an impact on whatever you're doing, and how do you improve that. The third piece to that, I would say, on the Ford trajectory was international assignments. If you think about, for a lot of us, like myself, who grew up in India, coming to the US is a foreign assignment. But even so, when this opportunity came up for us to go to Brazil, we took that on, and it was a fantastic experience. Even though I was born and brought up in India and I had seen a different culture, going to South America, seeing a different culture, working with different people, was a huge professional and personal learning experience for me and my family. And so one of the things that I tell everyone now is, if you ever have the opportunity in a multinational organization to take a foreign assignment, jump on it, because it'll be a great experience both professionally and personally.
Well, you had such a great career at Ford, so why did you decide to leave and go join FLIR?
Good question. Actually, you're right. It was a fantastic career at Ford. I was there for about 20 years. It was great. Ford was great to me. There was really no dissatisfier. I'd moved around quite a bit. I'd seen many areas of the company. I was on a good trajectory. Going to South America after that, they had already asked me if I would go to China or Europe next. And so from that standpoint, there was really no dissatisfier. I loved the company, the products, the people, and I wasn't actively looking. But when we came back from South America, this opportunity came up to go to FLIR Systems, which was a smaller company, high tech, out in Portland, Oregon, very different industry. And it was something that was a huge opportunity, again, because it took me from a divisional chief financial officer role at Ford to an enterprise CFO role. So this was a publicly traded company, about $5 billion in market cap, $1.7 billion in revenue. And so it was a huge acceleration to the next level. So that was a big draw, obviously. But then, as I thought about it, I really liked the company, FLIR Systems, high tech, great products, great people as well. And so I thought to myself, if I'm ever going to leave Ford after 20 years, this is probably time. Otherwise, I'm going to probably retire from Ford. And this was so different than Ford when I look at the industry, going from automotive to high tech, the size of the company going from a $150 billion enterprise to a $1.5 billion enterprise, going from Detroit to Portland. All in all, it was a big change. And I said, if I'm able to do this and make this transition, I think I can do anything after that. And I said to myself, this obviously takes me out of my comfort zone. And I actually thought, what would I tell my 20-year-old daughter if she were to ask me this question? And I would say, you got to take the risk. You got to go out and get out of your comfort zone and try it out and see how it goes, right? Whether you fail or succeed, it'll be a great experience and a great learning moment. And so I ended up taking it. And it's been a great 2 years at FLIR.
That's great. So what, in your opinion, are key traits to becoming a successful leader?
There's 4 things that I've tried to live by, my principles as I've gone through any assignment. You're a leader no matter what you do. You don't have to have people working for you. You are a leader. You could be an individual leader. You could be a leader amongst a team of peers. You can be a leader if you have people reporting to you. But what I've at least found and learned in my career are 4 key things that I've sort of tried to live by. First is around positive attitude. That's something that I've found makes the difference between success and failure every single time. No matter what the situation is, no matter how hard the obstacles are, no matter how tough the the overall environment is, I have found that having a positive attitude, having the right perspective, and approaching anything with that approach, you can always find a way. You can always find a way out of the situation. There's always another play in any game you play, and that's something that has been something that I've found on and on and on through my career, and as I've observed other people look at situations and deal with situations. Positive attitude. The second one is around passion. I truly believe that whatever you do, you should do it with passion, whether it's studies, whether it's social work, whether it's your career, because you spend, a majority of your waking hours doing that. When you're in school, between school and homework, that's majority of your waking hours. When you're at work, it's the same thing. So if you're not really enjoying what you're doing and you're not really passionate about it, then I would say you should probably try and find something else to do, because you'll waste a lifetime otherwise. And for me, that's been something, I love what I do. I love working. Maybe I'm a workaholic, maybe that's abnormal, but that's what I love to do, and I feel that having that passion in whatever you do allows you to really immerse yourself into it and do well. Third thing I would say is around a relentless pursuit of excellence, and what I mean by that is really pushing hard at whatever you do, working really hard and never giving up, right? No matter what the obstacle, always being persistent and always pushing to do better. And by excellence, what I mean is really striving to go to the next level, right? Aim for 120%, and even if you achieve 80% of that, that's better than settling for mediocrity. And from my standpoint, it's always better to shoot for the stars, even if you reach the treetop. Not using a cliche or anything, but again, it's again a relentless pursuit of excellence to try and keep improving and trying to take whatever you're doing to the next level with a mindset of continuous improvement and hard work at that. And then the fourth thing I would say is people. No matter what you do, whether you're working as a team at a school project, whether you're in business, you can never achieve anything on your own. You always need a team, you always need people around you, and I found that often in our day-to-day grind, whether it's at school or at work, we forget that people are the most important assets, and people is how we get things done. And so I think an intense focus on people you work with, the relationships, the network, and then taking care of people, right? Whatever it is in a work situation, it's all about attracting the right talent, onboarding them, developing them, and then giving them the right feedback and opportunities to advance, and motivating the employees to give in their best, and then taking care of them as true assets and true partners. And I think that's again very important. That's what I've found.
Okay, well, thank you very much. If you appreciate the shared info on this video, please visit DES website www.detroiteducation.org and make a small donation. And if you have education or youth development related info to share, or you have a business and would like to promote this video, please contact us.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.